Joining me now is Congressman John Garamendi, Democrat from California with the House Democratic Caucus. Sir, we've been talking budgets all day, continuing resolutions, 2011 budget, 2012 budgets. When are we going to make the real cuts, the ones that matter, not these 30 or 33 or $40 billion budget cuts? We need real change. When are we going to get to see that, sir?
It's in process. If you take a look at one of the things that the Republicans seem to hate, which was the Affordable Care Act, there was real reform in that, stemming the growth rate in medical costs, all medical costs, both public and private. Now, your Republican friends seem to want to repeal that. And in the proposal that they just put out today, giving to the health insurance industry the biggest payday ever, turning over the entire Medicare program to the health insurance industry, literally feeding our seniors to the health insurance sharks. I couldn't think of a worse thing to happen.
I apologize to cut you off, but what we found out since Nancy Pelosi suggested we parachute in and we pass the bill, make it law,
Sure,
so we can find out what's in it. What we found out that was in it was a double accounting of $500 billion. We're finding more and more things. We're finding stuff in the 2012 budget. Unfortunately, you're saying...
Hang on a second, Eric.
Allow me to ask the question.
No, you hang on a second, Eric.
Fine, go ahead.
In fact, what you're finding is the double counting in the proposal that the Republicans are putting out in their budget. They're counting the savings that were actually in the health reform bill that they want to repeal. Can't have it both ways, guys. One way or the other. And what they're doing to seniors is impossible.
Please, you used it as part of a savings on one hand, and you said you're going to go find $500 billion in another place. You double counted it. It was the Democrats passing the bill who double counted, not the Republicans who voted against it.
Well, wait a minute. The point here is that if you're going to deal with health care costs, you've got to go at the cost drivers in the system. Medicare is most definitely not a cost driver. In fact, it is very, very efficient, and it does contain costs. The other private insurance companies are where the problem is, and this I know. I was the insurance commissioner in California for 8 years, and I know the rapacious nature of those health insurance companies.
We can debate the health care law, whether it's going to save or save us money or not, or cost us more money. Premiums are going up regardless. Yesterday, we found 23 senators wrote a letter to President Obama saying, hey, President, we found $435 billion in the 2012 budget that we don't know where it's coming from. You're using it as a revenue item in the budget, but we're not sure where that's coming from. It seems like these budgets, these proposals, these bills, these laws are just chock full of, crazy stuff, skeletons in the closet.
But we do know there are some very important things that are under debate right now, one of which is the unnecessary subsidies to the oil industry. The wealthiest industry in the entire world, the oil industry. You talked about the price of fuel. They're going to see extraordinary profits, yet about $12 billion a year of our taxpayer money is used to subsidize the oil industry.
Do you know who pays the most taxes in the world? You know who's paying the most taxes right now in America?
Well, we know it's not
those oil companies that you're pointing the finger at. They're paying taxes on the profits. Their profit margins aren't high. And by the way, they're also paying royalties to be able to drill on the land. They're paying that to the government too.
So given all of that, why do we subsidize them when in the last decade they have made just under $1 trillion in profit? And that's for the big five sisters here in the United States. Why should we
I love having you Democrats on, sir.
I
love having you Democrats on because on one side of your mouth, you want to complain about what's going on in the economy and how you're going to change things. Meanwhile, we're paying $3.70 a gallon. If you didn't, I don't know, subsidize, you call it subsidy, I call it lend a little bit of support to an oil company, guess what you'd be paying? Maybe you'd be paying $7 or $8 or $11 a gallon like you do in Europe.
No, that's not the case. In fact, your crocodile tears for the oil companies are totally unnecessary. They're doing quite well, and you just watch the profits that are coming up. My point here is, if we're going to balance the budget, we need to do a variety of things, and one of them is not to give unnecessary subsidies to very, very successful businesses. And the oil industry is extraordinarily successful. Bring those subsidies back.
Thank God
help
they are,
us balance the budget.
Thank God they're successful, because that's the only thing keeping us out of a double-dip recession. If not, we might see a $10 gallon gasoline. That would bury us.
In fact, if those prices continue to rise, we may, in fact, see a double-dip recession. Why are the prices going up? Certainly speculation is part of it, and we also know we have a little bit of a problem in the Middle East.
We could do this a long time. It has nothing to do with the Middle East. It has little to do with speculation. It has a lot to do with our monetary policy coming directly from Washington. Congressman, we would love to have you on again.
Explain that, Eric.
I would love to have you back. You're a great Democrat. I like having you on. You're fantastic. We will bring you back, sir. We're just running out of time for this segment.
You got it.
We're going to bring in tonight's all-star